And welcome to tonight's webinar. I'm Dr. Lee Sheldon. It's good to have you with us. We have a large group tonight. I invited non-members as well as members because I thought some of the material that you're going to find out tonight is going to be really, really important to your practice. You know the situation that we are having as specialists and how we need to look at new avenues for getting new patients in. Well, our guest tonight is Chestin Salisbury. Chestin is the marketing director for the IDS, for the Institute of Dental Specialists, Institute for Dental Specialists. He's been our marketing person for the past 5 or 6 months, has done a tremendous job for us. Chestin works in the dental field. That's how we met him. He was recommended to us by Beth, who was on last week from Ace Chat. And Chestin has done a tremendous job for us utilizing the internet for marketing our program, for marketing the Institute of Dental Specialists. So, Chestin, take it away. Good to have you with us.
Yeah, it's good to be here. Appreciate the opportunity to chat with everyone tonight and share some insight and share some things that we've seen as it relates to marketing your practice. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, if I can remember how to do that. There we go. All right. So, the title of the webinar, Stop Depending on Referrals, Start Generating Your Own Qualified, Eager-to-Buy Leads, and Take Control of Your Future Success no matter what or who you're competing against. And I know that's kind of a big promise, but I hope that by the end of this webinar that you will see that it is possible to really kind of fulfill these promises, to really satisfy these objectives. And so the information that I'm going to share tonight, I hope will be enlightening. I hope you'll be able to see kind of where the opportunities are and how it is that you can take advantage of them as you work to grow your dental practice and really kind of become that director of dentistry that Lee talks about all the time. Let's see, there we go. So it really is a great time, to be honest, to be a dental specialist, to be a small business owner, in fact. Now, granted, you have plenty of challenges. You know, I've talked to Lee several times, and we've had many conversations about many of the challenges that you guys as dental specialists face. You know, you have the corporate and large group practices. General dentists are referring less and less. There's competition for other services, products or services, and then there's always the financial uncertainty that comes along with any type of large purchase that consumers are dealing with. But at the end of the day, you know, it really is a great time to be an entrepreneur and even a dental specialist. And how is it that I can say that? Well, let me take just a minute and introduce myself. As Lee said, my name is Chestin Salisbury. I'm the Director of Client Strategy with your marketing practice. And basically, that's just a fancy way of saying that it's my job to really help define, develop, identify strategies that are going to help our clients be successful. We've been, you know, in digital marketing in the dental space for the last 10 years. We've done everything from, you know, I mean, you name it, website design and development, search engine optimization, social media, reputation marketing, even paid marketing, content marketing, and we even do some offline marketing as well. Really, if it comes down to generating patients for a dental practice, we've done it. We've seen it. We've spoken at some of the largest events. We've spoken at CEREC 30. We've worked with Henry Schein, Sunrise Dental Solutions, Pelton & Crane, just a couple of the companies that we have worked with. And we've pretty much seen it all. You know, being in this industry for the last 10 years, being in the digital marketing space, working with dentists, we've been able to see where the industry has been, where it's at now, what are some of the challenges, and then most importantly, where it's going. And so I think that's probably the biggest thing that I want to share tonight is I really want to share with you where it is that we see marketing going and how it is that you can take advantage of this opportunity that's out there. My goal is for the webinar, again, help you recognize this opportunity. Ultimately, though, provide a roadmap for you to start taking control of your future success. You know, as dental specialists, for the longest time, you've been dependent upon that referral relationship from general dentists. And that is flipped. You know, as Lee teaches in the Institute for Dental Specialists, you know, you really have got to take control of your practice. You have to take control of generating those patients yourself, of going direct to patients. Now, obviously, there's that challenge of you don't want to upset the referral sources, you know, those that you depend upon to send you referrals. But hopefully the information I'm going to share tonight will show you a way that you can do that position yourself, establish your authority, generate those direct-to-patient relationships, and do so without upsetting those referring dentists, as in fact, be able to then in turn around and actually become the referral source so that you are the one that is sending patients back to the general dentists. And then finally, I hope to provide some resources really to help you get started. Now, before we get started, let me just, I need to make this clear. I think everyone on here understands this, but I just like to make sure that this gets said. If you've ever seen the movie Field of Dreams, absolutely love it. I'm a big baseball fan, love the movie. Unfortunately, its message has absolutely zero application as it comes to business. You know, the famous saying of, if you build it, they will come. As it applies to business, it's just not, you know, it just doesn't apply. And so hopefully you understand, hopefully you're on this webinar with the understanding that you have got to invest in marketing your practice. You have to spend some money. You have to get out there and put yourself out there to develop those relationships, whether it be those referral sources or whether it be going direct to patients. Now that that's out of the way, let me just say that, again, I've never been more excited, and now is a great time because for the first time, really, the little guy can compete head-to-head with the big boys. And what I mean by that is, you know, the opportunity is there where you can go up against the largest corporate dental practices, the large group practices that are in your area, and you can compete very effectively and you can win on a consistent basis if you have the right strategies, the right tactics, the right tools in place. And so I really hope to be able to share some of those with you tonight because it's almost an urgent matter in the sense that the time to act is right now. You see, the things that we're going to talk about, and specifically I'm talking about digital marketing, social media, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Snapchat, all of those things, it's almost like the wild, wild west in a sense, and that the opportunity is there for those that take action now. The biggest brands, the Fords, the GMs, the Apples, the Coca-Colas, those guys are still, believe it or not, stuck in 2005. There is over, I read a statistic the other day, I want to say it was $8 billion in commercials that are run on TV, print media, direct mail, all these old school traditional media that these companies are using. Well, what they're starting to realize is that it doesn't work anymore. You've probably seen this in your own practice. You know, the old school marketing methods simply don't work. If you think about TV, where the bulk of that money is spent, how many of us watch TV commercials? I know I don't. You know, we've got Hulu, we've got Netflix, and so we're watching those shows where we can either skip over the commercials or because they're made by the studios, they don't have commercials. And so as a result, this money that is still currently being invested in those marketing channels is very quickly going to be coming into these channels that we're going to be talking about tonight. And so as a result, once that happens, what you can now get for pennies on the dollar is going to jump to tens, 20s, 30s, 50s, hundreds of dollars in order to get those same eyeballs, to get that same attention that you're going to be able to generate with your marketplace. So the time to act is right now. All right. Now, before we go too far, I need to kind of share an idea with you that is very important to understand. And you probably already realize this, but I just want to lay this out because this really is going to kind of set the framework and lay the foundation for everything that we're going to talk about. And it's something called the consumer's journey. The consumer's journey really is the idea that there is this process that we go through as we make buying decisions. It doesn't matter what it is. Could be something very inexpensive, could be something very expensive, you know, very costly that we work years and years and years for. Dentistry is a great example of this. At the end of the day, this journey that we go on, the sole purpose is to make the best decision possible for us as a consumer. All right, and so what this looks like is this little timeline that we have. Over here to the left, we have where you're just starting to think about a product or service. You may not even realize that you need something, but suddenly that idea comes into your mind that, hey, I need this or I want this. And so then you start working your way down the spectrum where you start gathering information, you do some fact finding, you look at all the available choices, you start to narrow some things down. At some point, you decide that you're going to buy, but you're still not quite sure who it is you're going to buy from. Ultimately, you're waiting for the right time. And then finally, at some point, that money changes hands. And so all of us go through this process, consciously or subconsciously, as we're making decisions about what to spend our money on. And it's important to understand this as a dental specialist because your patients, your potential patients, are going through this very same decision-making process. And so as we understand this, as we understand where they're at on this during this consumer journey, we can then start to put information, start to put things in front of them that capture their attention, that engage them in a conversation, and then help them start to move down that decision-making process. Thanks to the internet, there's all kinds of information available, and you know this. Tons of resources. But the problem is, because there is so much, a lot of people don't know where to go. And so most consumers today, they're confused, they're frustrated, they're not sure where to turn, they're not sure which way is up, which way is down, because there is so much information available to them. And sadly, a lot of the advertising that's being done, a lot of the marketing that's being done today looks like this. Hey, save X number of dollars, save 20% off, come in for this, come in for that. But in reality, what consumers really want more than anything, they simply want help. They want someone that can kind of be their champion, that can really lead them and help them make that right decision. Now, they don't want to be sold to, but they do want to make the right decision for them. And so they are looking for someone that can really, they're looking for someone that can be that trusted advisor, provide the resources that they need to help them make that good decision for them. So here's your challenge as a dental specialist, someone that's looking to really take control of your future, that's looking to get out from that referral dependency, that's looking to compete head-to-head with those large corporate practices or those large group practices. Your challenge is to, number one, get in front of the right people, to do it at a cost that makes sense, and then you've got to say and do things differently than everyone else. Again, most people, all they're seeing and all their the advertisements or the marketing they're seeing is, hey, save this, save that, get 20% off, or whatever the case may be. And so you want to do something to stand out and be different. Ultimately, you want to become the trusted authority for these potential patients that are out there looking for you. And to do that, you want to create a system that is scalable and repeatable. Now, one of the challenges with the old school marketing, let's take print media, for example. And I know, and don't get me wrong, there's a time and a place for all of these things. So when I say this, I'm certainly not degrading any of these alternative methods. But with print media, for the longest time, the Yellow Pages, when you committed to being in that Yellow Pages, all right, you committed to being in there for the entire year. And so you paid that large sum, whatever that was, however large that ad was, and you were stuck for that entire year. Whether you got any calls or not, whether anyone saw your ad or not. If you do a newspaper ad, you're stuck. Once that's out, it's gone. It's a large investment to make. So we want to, nowadays, given the technology that's available to us, we want to create a system that is scalable, meaning we can turn it off, we can turn it up, we can turn it down as needed. As we need more results, as we need more patients, we simply turn the system up. It generates more patients. As we get to a point to where, we want to slow things down, we can dial it back a little bit. And we have the control and the ability to do that. We also want to do something that is repeatable, meaning we can do it again and again and again. All right, so it's very scalable, very repeatable. When we do this, a couple of things result. First of all, you're going to generate a loyal following. Okay, these people are going to be ready to take your advice. You're going to get increased word of mouth referrals simply because when you become that trusted advisor, when you become that hero to them and help them make that good decision, they're going to then go out and tell all the people that they know about what a great experience they had. When you become that trusted advisor, there's reduced friction during that sales process. You don't have to do a hard sale, which nobody likes to do, nobody likes to get. So as you become that trusted advisor, as you position yourself as that authority to them, you reduce that friction in the sales process. And really, it simply becomes a very simple conversation. At that point, it's, hey, how can we make this work for you? It's not a matter of trying to convince them that that's what they need to do. Your marketing costs are going to go down because you are doing the right things in the right way at the right time to the right people. Okay, you're not forcing your way into the conversation, but you're actually being invited in. They're being attracted to you, and as a result, they're allowing you into their news feeds, their social media life, so to speak, and you're doing it at a reduced cost because of the way that you're approaching this. Again, as I said before, one of the best results, especially as a specialist, is you become the referral source. You're not dependent upon those dentists to then send you leads, to send you potential patients, but instead you are then turning around and sending patients to those doctors. And you're saying, hey, you know what, here's a patient that I think you can do a really good job with, that you can help. And then finally, total control and stability, which I think as a business owner, I think that's what we all want. We all want that stability to know that what we're doing today is going to produce results, and it's going to provide that lifestyle, that security that we all want when we went into business for ourselves. And so developing this platform, learning how to become that trusted advisor, position yourself in such a way will give you that control over your future. It's going to give you that stability because you're going to have the confidence and know that as you need to generate new patients, you have that platform and you have that ability to do so. So all that sounds great. So the question is, so how do we do that? So here's what I want to do next. So I want to walk you through, actually setting up this platform, setting up a system that is going to allow you to become that trusted advisor and really fulfill all these objectives that we talked about. All right. Now, a lot of the marketing that we see today, a lot of the marketing advice that we see, hey, build a fancy website. You got to get it ranked so that people find you when they search. Build out your social media profiles, post cute pictures, inspiring messages, great quotes, links back to your website, and then do paid media. Now, let me just say, all of those things are not bad. Again, all those things have a time and a place, and they all fit within the toolbox that you should have to market your practice effectively. The problem and the challenge is that that's what everyone else is doing as well. And so after a while, you start to sound the same. You start to look the same, and potential patients that are out there looking for advice, looking for information, are having a hard time distinguishing from one to the next. All right, so we want to make sure that whatever we do allows you to stand out. You want to stand head and shoulders above those other options that are out there, whether it be a general dentist, or whether it be another specialist that you're competing against, or whether it be another option that they have to invest their money in. We want to make sure that whatever you're doing, you're standing out in such a way that you're attracting those people to you, that you're positioning yourself in the right way, and that you're really becoming the directory of dentistry, so to speak. And we do that using something, a term that we've called authority-based branding. Now, I have to admit, when it comes to branding, this is kind of my feeling, all right? As a small business owner, as a small business marketer, to me, branding is what we see the big boys do. And when I say big boys, I mean the Fortune 500 companies that have millions and millions of dollars to spend, all right? They're able to go out and they're able to invest. For example, a great example is the Goodyear blimp. You go to these sporting events and you look up and sure enough, there's that Goodyear blimp flying around, circling around the stadium or the golf tournament or whatever it is. And their objective is just to build that name recognition so that when it comes time for you to buy tires, that you're going to think of Goodyear because you saw this blimp. It's having, great logos, great images. And again, a time and a place for this. But as a small business owner, branding is not necessarily a great idea. It's very expensive. It takes a long time to produce results. In most cases, it's not scalable. You're not able to turn it off or on as needed. It's not necessarily predictable. And that's a big key for small businesses. You want to use marketing methods that are predictable, that when you invest X number of dollars, you have a pretty good idea of the return that you're going to get and the time frame that you're going to get that in. Unfortunately, with branding, again, because you're trying to build that name recognition, it just isn't there. So in many ways, branding for a small business, for a dental specialist, really is still a bad idea. In fact, in my view, anything that is not direct response, meaning you have an offer, there's a very specific response and a very specific result that you're trying to achieve. That's what we do for our clients. That's what we recommend. That's what I recommend that you do. Use direct response marketing so that the dollars that you invest today are going to come back tomorrow, and they're going to come back with friends. And you have a pretty good idea of when you invest X number of dollars today, that it's going to bring X number of dollars back to you tomorrow. And so you really want to use, for the most part, things that are direct response. But if we think about this, and as we've kind of developed this system, if you think about the big brands, Ford, Coke, the ones that are listed here, Starbucks, Microsoft, Apple, they're not necessarily doing things. They're not retargeting you on Facebook. All right? They're not search engine optimizing their website. They're not doing the things that small businesses do, but yet we still have this affinity for them. We still have this feeling of trust. We still look to them as leaders. In some regards, we look at them as, the safe alternatives. For example, Ford and Chevy. People are very much in the Ford family, or they're very much in the Chevy family. That has nothing to do with what I just said. And so as I was bashing branding and the reasons why it's bad for small business, at the same time, there's a time and a place for it if done correctly, because these companies right here have demonstrated over the years that it works. And so the thing that we want to do is we want to utilize these branding principles in a way that makes sense for small businesses. So again, when I say it's a great time now because the little guy can compete head to head versus the big boys, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Technology, the internet, the platforms that are available to us, the marketing channels that are available to us have made it possible so that the small business can utilize big brand methods and methodology and do so in a way that produces results predictably, consistently, in a very, very, very timely manner. Perfect example is old school versus new school. And here we go. So old school would be the TV. So it used to be back in the day, if you were a big brand, you had to advertise on TV. That was the only way you could get in front of your potential clients. All right. But there were only 3 channels: CBS, NBC, and ABC. We didn't have this 200 channels that we have now today. We didn't have, if you have a smart TV and you scroll through, I look at half these channels and I'm like, I've never heard of this channel. All right. That wasn't the case. There were 3 channels. And so if you wanted to get in front of your potential clients or customers or patients or whatever it is, and you wanted to do it via TV, you had 3 options. So it was very easy to go in and invest that money. And that's what the big brands did. That's what the Coca-Colas did. That's what the McDonald's did. That's what the Fords and the Chevys and all these companies that have been around forever, IBM, Microsoft, even though it's relatively newer compared to some of these other ones, but this is the way they built their business. Nowadays, new school, you have the opportunity to get in front of the same number of, in fact, I venture to say more people utilizing the technology and the platforms that are available today, and do so in a way that mimics what the old brands, what the big brands have done to develop their brand, to develop their affinity with their customers. All right, so you've got Facebook, you've got YouTube, you've got Instagram, Snapchat, LinkedIn. These are some of the primary channels. And now you have this opportunity, instead of having to invest tens of thousands of dollars, and in some cases millions of dollars, to run these ads on TV, you have little TVs in your hands that your potential patients are walking around with, and you can get your message. You can position yourself in front of these people very quickly for pennies on the dollar. And so it's a dramatic shift, and it opens up a huge opportunity for us as small business owners. Again, the key though is we've got to act fast before these big brands that have the big dollars recognize this and start to pour their money in, because at that point, costs go up, it becomes much more difficult. All right, so let's start talking about how specifically we can do that. As we do that, let me just talk real quickly about some of the results. Celebrity status is certainly one of them, but ultimately the big one is you become the authority in your marketplace. And I think that's the point that I want to hammer home is that's the objective. Your patients are out there. There are people that are out there that have lost faith in the dental industry. They've had bad experiences or they've heard bad stories. They're not sure where to go. They don't know what their options are. There's so much information out there. There's so many alternatives. They're confused. And so they want someone, again, that can take them by the hand and lead them along that decision-making process. And this is your opportunity to do that. Now, as we talk about branding, I just want to share real quickly some examples before we actually start to get into some of the specifics. These are some people that have developed massive followings, have had massive success utilizing this authority or celebrity based branding. The one at the top, Justin Bieber. As much as I hate to admit it, the guy's been very successful. He's started out, if you're not familiar with the story, started out singing videos or singing songs on YouTube, got discovered by a record label, and the rest, so to speak, is history. The one up here in the top right, Ed Sheeran, he's another one. He was discovered singing songs on YouTube on a street corner. Again, signed by a record label, and now he sells out concerts worldwide. He's got a net worth of $65 million plus. He's very well known, and it all started utilizing one of these channels that is available to you. This guy down here in the bottom left, Gary Vaynerchuk. If you're not familiar with him, I encourage you to look him up and kind of get familiar with some of his information, because he is very much on the cutting edge of where technology, where this authority-based branding is going. He started out, he took over his parents' wine business. They did about $3 million a year. I want to say this is about 10 years ago. They did $3 million annually. He started doing a daily vlog or a daily YouTube video basically reviewing a wine, talking about a particular vintage that he had in his family store. He took it from $3 million to $60 million in just a handful of years, simply because he connected with his audience. He provided that information that they were looking for. Jared and Evan, this one here in the middle, EvanTube. This is a father-son team that they do 3 videos a week. They review toys. They do $1.6 million annually because of the traffic that they generate from these videos. So a perfect example of generating that authority status. I can't tell you how many times my 6-year-old son has sat there and watched those 15-minute videos of them opening up some toy. And then as a result, he comes in and he says, hey, I want to get this toy. I saw it on EvanTube. Can we get this toy? And so very much an authority position, something that, again, we can generate for you as well. And the last one down here in the corner, Dr. Michael Salzhauer, I think that's how you say it, but his name, basically he's known as Dr. Miami. He started Snapchatting his surgeries so that everyone could watch. He would get out his phone, he'd go through and record it, he would Snapchat it. He went from a practice that was doing okay. Granted, he lives in Miami, so I'm sure he wasn't struggling, but he went from doing okay to having a 2-year waiting list simply because he records these, or he posts these videos on Snapchat, puts them out there for the world to see. He's done book tours. He's got a TV show. He's even recorded a Billboard Top 25 song. I'm not sure who the artist was. I don't recognize the song because I don't listen to that kind of music. But that's the kind of power that the celebrity status or this authority status can create when you utilize this technology appropriately. Now, obviously, these things aren't necessarily, I don't expect any of you to go out and start recording songs to get patients or start Snapchatting your procedures or, doing reviews of wines or whatever the case, or, implants, whatever the case may be. But the principles still apply in that, given the technology, you have the ability to go directly to your target market and position yourself as that authority, as that trusted advisor. Now, let's start talking about some specifics. So I kind of want to give you a blueprint of what this might look like in your practice and the process that we use to help position our clients as this authority, utilize this authority-based branding to really get them in the marketplace, develop that status and that affinity that they have with their marketplace. So there's a couple of things that you need, and I'm going to go through each of these individually, but let me just list them out for you real quick. First of all, we have something called pillar content. Then we have authority building content, valuable offers, detailed targeting, a distribution platform, and then automated lead capture and follow-up systems. All right. And each of these play an important part. They're the components of building this framework, of having this system that is going to be evergreen, that's going to allow you to really position yourself, and it's going to give you that control that you want as it relates to being able to build and grow your practice on a consistent, predictable basis. All right. So let's talk about each one of these individually. So pillar content, this is a piece of content or something that you create or produce that, again, solidifies that authority position. Now, as we go through these steps, you'll see that we're doing things to really kind of do that in little chunks. But what all this does, all this authority content that we're going to create really is kind of directed back to or around this one big piece of pillar content. It could be a book. It could be a series of reports. It could be anything. It could be a longer video. There's lots of different things that we could do. Here's some examples of some pillar content that I'm familiar with. So this one over here on the right is a client of ours. They're a cosmetic dentist. They recently wrote a book. It's called Open Your Mouth, and it basically just walks you through. It tells stories. It talks about implants. It talks about what they are. It talks about the benefits, some of the downfalls, how to finance it, all the various questions that people have about dental implants. Another example is the one here on the left from our very own Dr. Sheldon. And this is a very comprehensive, I want to say it's 250 some pages of just extremely helpful, valuable information that patients are looking for as it relates to their dental care. And so the content that we create to help position you and build up your authority status will be built around this piece of pillar content. Because again, instead of simply sending offers and discounts and coupons and free this and free that or discounted this, we want to send and we want to use this pillar content to really solidify that relationship. Use this as something to bridge that gap and start having that conversation with those potential patients so that they can understand all the complexities of this decision that they're trying to make. Again, this is your way of really virtually taking them by the hand and leading them down that consumer journey so that they can arrive at the decision that they need to arrive at, which ultimately the goal is to help them choose you as their service provider. All right, so once we have this pillar content, the next step then is we want to create some authority building content. And so this is content that firmly establishes your authority. And video is best, without a doubt. Why is video best? You have so many different options and avenues for getting that video content out there. You know, it used to be that most people would sit down as a family, would watch the TV at night. If your family's anything like mine, you know, if the TV's on, it may be on, but chances are there's one or two of us that are off in a corner that have on our phone that we're watching other videos. I'm watching something on YouTube or something on Facebook or whatever the case may be. Video is a great tool because it allows you to make those connections with those potential patients. They can see you, they can hear you, they can kind of get a feel for your mannerisms. You know, there's a lot that gets lost when it's just printed text, you know, when they can't see your face. And so video allows you to really develop that connection, develop that intimate connection. And so additionally, video allows us to then take that content and strip it down or break it down into additional pieces of content. And so we take a longer video, and typically what we do is we create, you know, anywhere from 1 video to 2 videos per week. And the subject matter is anything that your potential patients might have as questions. So what are frequently asked questions? What are questions that they should be asking? What are the things that they don't know? What is the information that they need to be able to help make a good decision? So for example, what's a dental implant? You know, how do you decide which is the best option, a dental implant or dentures? You know, what's the difference? What's a bridge? You know, all these different options that are out there. Some of the things, you know, how do you, for example, and I'll show you a video here in a few minutes. How do you finance your implants? Aren't they expensive? You know, are they expensive or are they, you know, is it a good investment? And so answering these types of questions. And so the best place to start really is just create that list of content or create those lists of questions and then shoot short videos. You know, I've got coming up here in a minute, I'll show you. I'm sorry, this thing keeps jumping around on me. So let me just show you a tool. Here we go. So this right here, probably the most powerful tool that you have in your practice as it relates to generating new patients. Very underutilized because you can very quickly pull this out. Most smartphones nowadays have fantastic cameras, video cameras, and I'll even share with you a resource here in a few minutes that will allow you to pre-write the text or the things that you're going to say. You simply hold up your phone and it almost works like a teleprompter where you can follow along, you can read what it says, and you can simply go along and answer those questions. All right, so video content really is the place to start because it can be used in so many different ways. There we go. I'm getting ahead of myself. So here we go. So really, video is the fastest, it's the easiest way. So the app that I was telling you about is called Reporter. You can find it in the Google Play Store. It's also available in the iTunes Store, the App Store. And basically, again, what you do is you load up your script that you want to read. You pull it up, hold your phone out like this, and as you're talking, the text is scrolling along just like a teleprompter, so it looks like you're actually looking at the camera as opposed to, you know, looking off screen or wherever it is that you're looking at. Other options are Facebook Live. Instagram has something called Instagram TV now. All of these are great options for just getting out there, sharing some short snippets of content, you know, that you can, again, position yourself as the authority, answer those questions, really help be that trusted resource for your potential patients. In terms of, let me just answer real quick in terms of what type of content. I already said, you know, frequently asked questions, should ask questions. One thing that I'm going to do, Dr. Sheldon and I talked about this, for those IDS members that are existing members, you guys tomorrow or Friday, will be getting a list of different topics, conversation starters that you can use. So potential questions, should ask questions, things that your patients don't know that they don't know. So some things that you can use to really help you get started creating these videos, creating this authority building content. So be on the lookout in your email for those here in the next day or two. Now, once you have these videos, the video gets distributed to the appropriate channels. Again, Facebook, YouTube, even LinkedIn is a great place to find potential patients. And these are where people are spending the bulk of their time. YouTube, a short while ago, took over, I believe it's the it's the number one most search engine because more people are actually searching for videos. And then Facebook is the number 2 trafficked website next to Google. So both of these are fantastic platforms. If you don't think your patients are there, you're wrong. There are, I don't know how many billions of people on Facebook, how many hundreds of millions of active accounts, meaning those people are actively on Facebook and are actively interacting with the content that's there. It's the perfect opportunity for you to position yourself in front of these people with this authority building content that you've created. Once we've created that content, again, we're going to repurpose that content into other formats. And this is what makes video so great, is we can take it and we can strip it down into so many different ways. A lot of people consume information via podcasts. So we can take that content and we can turn it into a podcast, upload it to Stitcher, which is a podcast app for Androids. We can upload it to the iTunes store so that people can then consume that content. We take that content, we take clips, and we'll create social media images that we can share on Instagram or Snapchat or Facebook or LinkedIn. We can take that content and get it transcribed and upload it as a blog post on your website or some other post or some other blog that you may have, an external website. We can share it in emails with existing patients, with potential patients, depending on whether or not you're utilizing email. And so there's a lot of opportunity once we create those videos to really create this content, strip it down into multiple formats, and then repurpose it and reshare it across the various platforms in order to, again, position yourself in front of those potential patients and really position yourself as the authority. Once we have this content, the next step then is to actually send them or show them motivating offers, offers that are going to get them to take action. Again, I haven't listed it here, but for your book, if you have a book, sending them an offer for your book, getting them engaged. This video here in the middle is a video that we create. Everyone that's here in attendance tonight will get one of these videos customized for your practice. And so it's essentially presents them with an offer, whatever that offer might be. And this is something that we'll work with each of you to figure out what the right offer is. You can take this and upload it to Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, all these different channels that we're going to use. After we've created that other content, this comes into play because it's very effective. It's very engaging. Again, you can see here, smile makeovers, new patient specials. Dr. Sheldon does an implant seminar. We've done implant seminars. We worked with several clients that have done implant seminars. A great offer to get people motivated to take action, to engage, to take that next step in the process so that you can understand who they are, the questions, the challenges, the issues that they're facing with, so that you can then provide the appropriate information to help move them along that customer journey. The next step is to make sure that we are finding the right people. Now, this right here can be a bit of a challenge, admittedly. There's a whole lot of people that are out there on the interwebs, on social media. And so we want to make sure that as we are going through this process that we are narrowing down that universe of people that we're sending this information and this content to. All right, so that each time we put something out, that we're better identifying and better connecting with those people that we know and have a good sense are going to take the actions that we want them to take. At the end of the day, we want to target very specifically only those people that we know are likely to take action. Why? It reduces the friction. If we know someone is ready to take action, all right, the information we share is going to really help motivate them and move them along through the remainder of that customer journey. It's considerably cheaper. When we're back here trying to advertise to all these people right here, we're having to pay per impression or per click. So every time someone sees our ad, every time someone sees our video, whatever the case may be, if we're advertising to all these people right here and every single one of these people we're getting charged for, it's considerably more costly than if we're simply getting charged for these 3 prospects right here that we know are good candidates, are likely to take action for what we want to do. And so there's a process that we go through to identify who these people are, to make sure that the content that we're putting out there is targeted at the right people that are most likely to take action. Here's an example within Facebook ads, and we can do this within every platform. There are certain criteria, demographics, geographics, whatever the case may be, specific actions that they've taken that allows us to very specifically target those people that we want to show our information and our content to. And so we go through this detailed process. And the nice thing is as we go along, we learn who to target, who not to target, where to go, what to say, the various components of making sure that we're delivering those ads in a way that is effective and efficient for you to make sure that you're maximizing those ad dollars. And then the last part, or not the last part, the next part is we want to make sure that we have a distribution platform. And so that involves making sure that we have the appropriate social media channels. Again, these are the big ones: Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, LinkedIn. There are several others out there that we're playing around with. But for the most part, the majority of your patients, your potential patients, you're going to find on one of these platforms. All right. You also have to make sure that you have the appropriate ad accounts. We want to actually pay to get in front of these people. If we're simply relying on the passive SEO or posting, putting things out on our social media profiles without doing things to actually actively put them in front of our potential patients, we're losing control. It's not very predictable. And so we want to actually invest some of our marketing dollars to get these authority building pieces of content in front of these people. So again, Facebook, Google AdWords, YouTube, there's several others, AdRoll, display ads, but these are the primary ones. And with this platform in place, this allows you to very quickly distribute that content, get in front of those people that, again, we're trying to reach, that we're trying to help along that consumer journey. And the last part really is an automated lead capture and follow-up system. Now, let me just say, it doesn't have to be automated. It can be all manual. But at the end of the day, we don't have time to do the things that need to be done at the times that they need to be done. And so we want to automate as much as we can. And thanks to technology, we have that opportunity. We have that ability. So this involves things like retargeting. And retargeting is something that we'll talk about that here in just a second. But really, it allows us to narrow down who it is that we show those ads to, and it happens automatically. So we don't have to go in and manually filter and funnel and decide all these things. The ad platforms help us to do that automatically through something called retargeting. We use something called a landing page to capture the contact information. So instead of just sending these potential patients, these prospects to your website where there's lots of great information, but it's almost like there's too much information and they get lost. We want to send them to a very specific location, talking about a very specific subject that, of course, is related to whatever that piece of content is that they saw. So we send them to something called a landing page where the goal is to really capture their information. Get them in so that we can begin that relationship building process. And I'll show you an example here in just a second. Then we also want to include email, text message follow-ups, phone calls. Nothing beats the good old telephone and actually calling and reaching out to these people. And then we need it to be intelligent and action-based, meaning as specific things happen, certain actions on the back end are taking place as well. All right, and so here's an example of, and I'm going to walk you through a campaign in here in just a minute, but this is an example of a campaign that we are running or that we would potentially run for a client. All right, so we start with basically an authority piece of content that we already talked about, one of these videos that we've created. So here's some examples. Well, this is an example. So this is as a patient visits. This is Dr. Sheldon's website right here, Solid Bite. It's drleesheldon.com. This is a client of ours. But as prospects are engaging with this content, we're showing these ads or we're running ads to a large audience of people. All right, so this is what this group here in the middle is. As these people engage with this content, okay, website, video, snippet, social media content, whatever the case may be, we're pulling those people out and we're moving them into a smaller group. And those people in that smaller group are the ones that have engaged with this content. Once we have that smaller group of people that have engaged in this content, that's when we then send them this specific motivating offer, whatever the case may be. In this case, you can see, this new patient special. It could be a free consultation. It could be a smile, implant screening, whatever the case may be. We're utilizing this retargeting to identify those people that are likely to take action. Once they take action, we pull them out and we put them into a smaller audience we then run some more advanced ads, some content, some things that are further along that consumer journey so that we can continue to move them along through that process to hopefully get them to the end. And then again, once they engage, once we send them that content, we send them to this landing page. And here's some example of some landing pages. You can see they're very, very focused, very specific. This one here on the left, it's for a cosmetic dentistry consultation. The one here in the middle is a landing page for that pillar piece of content that I showed you earlier, the book. That's all it talks about. The only option is to submit their name and their email address in order to get that book. They either do or they don't. If they don't, we know they're not a good candidate. And so they leave, and that's fine. There's going to be a lot of people that do that. But they can either leave their information or they do nothing. And that's what we want, because once they leave their information, we can then begin that relationship building process. And the one here on the right is a dental implant landing page that a client that we're working with. So we'll send, after we've identified who those people are to take action, we'll run some ads that are very targeted, very specific to those people that we've identified that we're retargeting. And we then send them to this page. All right, and then here's an example, very small, but here's an example of an automated follow-up sequence. All right, so you can see there's lots of moving parts, lots of components. There's some notifications, there's some text messages, there's some emails, there's some additional notifications depending on where they're at. And so as these leads come in, as these potential patients come in, we have this system and this platform in place that can automatically and systematically continue to move them along that customer journey. Ultimately, again, the goal is helping them identify and realize that you have the information, that you are the authority that is going to help them make the best decision possible. All right, and ultimately, as a result of all of this, all these things we've already talked about, okay? Loyal following, they're ready to take your advice, word of mouth referrals go up, reduced friction during the sales process, marketing costs go down, you become the referral source, but ultimately, again, you're able to take control. You're able to produce that stability in your practice that's going to allow you to compete head-to-head and continue to grow regardless of what's going on around you, regardless of what large corporate practices or large group practices are moving into your area. When you have a system and a process like this in place and working for you, all of these things go away. You're able to sleep easy because you're able to consistently and predictably produce the type of revenue, the type of lead flow that you need in order to grow your practice. All right. So I want to take a couple minutes and I'm going to jump out of this. And I actually want to walk you through a live campaign so you can see some of these live components of what these actually look like. All right. So right here is, and this is where we start. Okay. So this is where we start with this authority building content. And this is a video that we did, one of our clients did. We helped them create this, all right? Thinking of dental implants, watch this video, all right? And this is a 4-minute and 40-second video you can see right here that talks about, and I don't know if you can hear that. All right.
Not very well. Not very well.
Okay. So that's Dr. Yaste. And basically he's introducing himself and he's essentially he's starting to answer some questions because as we've done some things with them, there's a lot of questions that we got specifically around cost and around Medicare or Medicaid. Do they cover implants? And so we identified a question that people had, that a lot of his potential patients had around these two areas. So we did a video that addressed these questions specifically. And the objective was we sent them to get a copy of this free book. And so when they click on this ad, all right, we're actually taking them over to this landing page, okay, where they can opt in to get this free book. All right, so here you go. All right. Now, it's very low key. It's not a hard sale.
Chestin, right now we're seeing only a slide that says, let's look at a campaign.
Oh, all right. Oh, there we go. Okay, hold on. Thank you. I appreciate that. So I need to share my screen. Where we go.
Yeah, share your screen. You'll see a couple check boxes at the bottom, which allows you to share audio and video as well.
Oh, all right. So let me go back. Can you see it now?
I can see claim a free copy of our book on dental
Yes,
implants.
that is
Yeah.
what I want. All right, perfect. Okay. So let me, how do I move that? There we go. All right. All right. I apologize. Appreciate the patience as I figure this out. All right. So I'm just going to show you. I'm not going to mess around with the sound. I'm afraid I'm going to screw things up. So here again. Here's this. Can you see? Can you see this? My Facebook feed.
Yes, I can. It says resume video, so you have
Okay.
a
Perfect.
yeah.
Perfect. So I'm just going to show you. You're probably not going to be able to hear, but this is an authority building video. You can see it's about 4 minutes and 45 seconds. All right. This is a client of ours, and we identified again a lot of questions about implants, the cost, and does Medicare, Medicaid cover them? So we created this piece of content. All right. And the call to action is get our free book. Okay. Very low key, very low risk. All right. So someone clicks on that, takes them over here to this page, claim your free copy of our book on dental implants. All right. So they have the option to go there. Once they submit their information here, then we have a sequence that goes out on the back end that again continues to follow up. If they happen to check this, I'm interested in a free implant screening right here, this option right here, then we take them to another page where we capture some more information because that's someone who's a little bit further on down the process. All right. But there's some people that just want the free book. If they click, I just want the free book, we have a follow-up sequence that goes out that talks about some of the chapters. We follow up over, over a period of weeks where we actually talk about some of the information with the call to action being, hey, let's schedule a free implant screening so you can come in and find out how these will work for you specifically. Now, let me come back to this ad right here. All right. If someone watches this ad, all right, and they watch 75% of that ad, or I'm sorry, of this video, all right, we are then taking that and we're retargeting them. What we're doing is we're taking them and we're putting them into what's called a custom audience, okay? A custom audience is something that we're able to create automatically thanks to, again, Facebook and their marvelous technology, all right? With this custom audience, we then turn around, all right, and we create another ad where we are specifically promoting and offering this implant screening. So again, we've built that authority utilizing this piece of authority building content. Okay, it's a very low key offer. Get our free book. But once someone engages up to a certain extent that lets us know, hey, they're very interested in this because they watched 75% of this almost 5-minute video, we then drop them into a campaign where they're then seeing ads for this free dental implant screening. All right, now when they click on this, when it says learn more, okay, we're actually taking them, let me see if I can, I have to go. Let me scroll through here real quick. Okay, so this is what it looks like. Someone's scrolling through. Okay, it looks just like this, and it looks the very same on their phone. It's formatted a little bit differently, but very similar experience. Okay, and so what they do is they click on this button right here, and now it takes them over to a landing page where they have the opportunity to opt in to receive a free implant screening. All right. Again, we've built that authority. We've built that trust. We've identified those people most likely to take action. And now we're continuing that conversation by offering them something very specific to help them move along that process. All right. Now, what happens? So I already showed you that. So once somebody opts in, okay, this is what they get. They get another video with Dr. Yaste just saying, hey, thanks for opting in. This is what you can expect. This is going to be in your inbox. Would love to see you in your office. Please call our office to schedule. And so again, we're building that authority. We're utilizing that video, which is allowing Dr. Yaste to build that connection face-to-face with potential patients. All right. Now let me show you on the back end. Okay, what happens once somebody opts in? And it's a little bit harder to see because it's really just kind of boxes and words and things. But here's what happens when somebody opts in. Okay, that's what this is saying right here. Okay, where we have a little pre-step that for one of the campaigns. So that's what this is doing. It's moving them out of one sequence and moving them into another sequence. All right. But then what we're doing is right here. So you can see right here, these things right here, really what this is a couple of different ways to get into this funnel is what we call it, into this landing page where they can submit their information. And all we're doing is taking the appropriate steps through automation to make sure that we're putting people in the appropriate place at the appropriate time so that they can get the information they need to continue that journey. All right. What happens is once they come here, we're being notified. So we're sending out a notification to, I'm getting one because I just like to see, this is a campaign that I'm working on directly. So I like to see what's going on, but we're also notifying the office of, hey, you have a new potential patient. They're receiving the information they submitted, name, email. In fact, let me come back because I want to show you another step. Here we go. All right, I'm going to put in my information real quick and just kind of show you what the next step is. All right, so once they opt in, we're actually doing a little bit more filtering, okay? We're actually asking them to fill out a survey or a questionnaire, okay? And this just gives us a little bit more insight into who this potential patient is, how serious are they, and how likely are they to proceed and really kind of follow through. All right, there's a couple of questions specifically because, again, this particular practice is fee for service. You know, they work with you to take insurance, but they don't accept Medicare, Medicaid. And so they were getting a lot of people just because of, again, Facebook is filled with all kinds of people of questions about that. And so we have a question in here. If you decide to move forward, how would you pay for your treatment? And so this gives the office a pretty good idea of, hey, how serious is this? How qualified is a candidate? You know, how much effort? You know, obviously we're working to get everyone in, but if someone puts Medicare, Medicaid, their process is call them, reach out and say, hey, we appreciate it. Unfortunately, Medicare, Medicaid doesn't pay for implants. Are there any other alternatives? Is that the only way? If it is, then they recommend another doctor, another dentist that they're very familiar with, that they work with, that could potentially help this patient. So again, they are the referring dentist. They're the one that is sending a patient to someone else. Now, so just one of these, again, another step that we've included. All right. And so back to this email system that we have, this follow-up system that we have, again, it's very strategically moving, let me shrink that down a little bit, moving these potential patients through this process along this customer journey. Simultaneously, we're building that relationship and we're continuing to establish that authority. All right, let me show you what this looks like real quick. So let me pull this email up just so you can kind of get a visual of what it actually looks like. All right, so here you go. So hello, congratulations. We wanted to send a quick email to let you know we've received your information for free implant screening. At this point, we just need to get you scheduled for your initial appointment, yada, yada, yada. So this, the objective here is to simply get someone to schedule, okay? As we go through this process, they're a little bit more, they're all, hey, call the schedule, but they all are building that relationship, building that authority. There's a couple of emails in here that reference the book. And so if someone hasn't already received the book, they're making an offer for someone to get that book. And so all of these things, what we're doing is we are building this authority. We're utilizing the technology and putting you in front of your potential patients in such a way that they're going to be engaged, that they're going to start to look at you as that person that can really help make that decision. And then we're systematically moving them through that process, through that consumer journey, all while positioning you and building up your authority status with these patients. All right. All right. So let me jump back here. Oh, there we go. Nope. Where are we at? Here we go. Share. All right. So that is that campaign. So again, just to quickly recap, I know we're hitting the top of the hour. The time is right now. I mean, it really is such a great time to really utilize this authority-based branding to position yourself, to get in front of your potential patients, to take control of your future by becoming, as Lee says all the time, the director of dentistry. Become the referrer instead of depending upon those referrals. As you build this platform, as you create and distribute this content effectively, you're going to compete head-to-head against the large group practices, against corporate dentistry. You're going to have a system that's scalable. It's going to be predictable. At the end of the day, you're going to be able to go home at night and sleep peacefully knowing that you have this process in place that is allowing you to control your future by really seizing, by being able to generate on demand those patients that you need. you're not going to have to worry about getting those cases that are referred to you that are almost beyond hope. You're going to be able to pick and choose those cases that you want to do. And you're going to be able to, the ones that you don't want to do, turn around and refer those to someone else that you know is going to provide a good service. And so really, this is an exciting time. As I think about this, I get excited talking about this, helping our clients develop these platforms because of the security and the control that it provides today and, again, for many years to come. So I'm going to take just a second, and I want to stop, and I want to, Lee, do you have any questions? Is there anything that I need to go back over? Any questions that have come in that I can answer?
Yeah, I want to bring up a question that I have because, of course, you showed my website, which was developed by Gilead, and everything was done there. And the advantage here is, and this is what I was trying to find, Chestin, was to find somebody who could, since many of our members are Gilead clients.
Yeah.
The question was, do you have to get rid of your existing marketing person in order to be able to do this? And the answer is a clear no. Essentially, you can interface with what's already going on and provide a new platform to reach additional patients who are doing or accessing you in a different way from the way our print media and our website and Google AdWords campaign is doing right now.
Absolutely. And let me just say, we are this is what we do. Again, we used to do website design. We used to do SEO. We used to do social media postings. We don't do those anymore simply because, number one, I believe so strongly in this authority-based branding and these tools that are out there, and just this process for positioning yourself and developing that authority position within your marketplace. And so we work with clients all the time that have other website providers. Someone's doing their SEO. Someone's doing their social media. We don't touch those. When we come in and you're able to develop these platforms external to, it's not mutually exclusive. In fact, you want to have a great website. You want to be found in those search engines. You want to be active on social media. We've just found that those things aren't as predictable. They're not as controllable as the system and the process that we talked about today.
Good. Hey, by the way, there is a question and answer box. If you just type in a question, I'll relay it to Chestin, and
I've got him pulled up here. I can see him as well.
Yeah.
Great. So while questions are coming in, let me just talk for what's next. So, I appreciate this opportunity again to share this information. I get really excited about it. I tried to hopefully provide kind of a platform and a blueprint that will allow you to take this information and start to go out and start to kind of develop some of these things for yourself. You absolutely could go out and do all of these things that I've talked about tonight on your own. It is absolutely possible with someone in your office or you yourself. I will say it does take some work. It does take a little bit of understanding how some of these platforms work and how best to utilize them. But you absolutely can take this information and go apply it to your practice tomorrow. At the same time, I will say that we are looking for, we have developed a program, and we are looking for some partners to help us build this platform out. All right. And basically, what we're looking for is content creation, a distribution platform. We're going to develop all these profiles. All the accounts are going to be set up and optimized. If you've already got them, fantastic. We'll just come in and we'll optimize these so that we can do this authority-based branding. We're going to create highly targeted content and ad placements. We'll create landing pages, follow-up campaigns built out, the ad campaign set up and managed, and the appropriate analytics and reporting, because that's a big part of this. We want to make sure that the money you're investing in your marketing, that it's going to the right places, that it's generating those results that you need. And so this platform that we're looking to develop, basically that campaign that I walked you through really is just kind of scratching the surface. I knew we had limited time, but I wanted to give you a taste of what that looked like. But that is essentially a very high level of what this campaign and what this platform looks like that we're looking to develop with a handful of partners. Again, this is a beta program. I'm going to be completely upfront and honest. We have a handful of clients that we've developed this with, but we're looking for a handful more that we can continue to develop and fine tune and really grow this thing so that it is an effective machine for helping you take control of your future success. It's a development program. Admittedly, it's not cheap, but it is considerably less expensive than what it will be once it is fine-tuned, once it's fully baked out and we have all of the ins and the outs worked out. If you decide to join, you're going to receive a significant discount. And the price really, if someone were to ask me how much it would cost, I can't give you a hard number because it's going to vary based on the existing assets that you have. So for example, Dr. Sheldon already has a book. And so therefore, we're not going to have to create a book. If you don't have a book, one of the things that we're going to do is help you write a book. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to write it, but we will need your input. We have, I'd say a template, but we have a fair amount of a book written already, and we just need some certain details that are applicable to your practice to plug in. And so you will get a book as part of this process. We will create videos. We will take those videos and strip it out into the derivative content, the short little snippets, the social media memes, the social media posts, the Facebook posts, the blog posts. All of those things will be included in this as we develop this platform. Your time is going to be required really to help develop this content. Again, we want to establish you as the authority. We want to build your brand as the dental care authority in your area. And so you are going to have to be involved. But the nice part is it is minimal. We have it structured such that for 30 to 45 minutes, once, maybe twice a month, we'll hop on a video chat just like this, and we'll simply interview and ask you questions related to those specific questions that your patients have. What are the questions that they should be asking? What are those things that they don't know that they don't know? And so that will be included. We'll then take that content, we'll edit it, we'll strip it out, we'll do all the things that we need to do to get that content distributed out to the appropriate distribution channels. It is a 3-month commitment. That's it. At the end of 3 months, our goal is for you to have a platform that is evergreen, that's predictable, it's scalable, that you can use and you can run with. Now, obviously, there will be some opportunity to continue to work together if you decide. But my goal is at the end of that 3 months to be able to, if you decide that you have people or resources that you want to do it yourself, that you're going to be able to take that content, you're going to be able to take that platform that we've developed, and you're going to be able to go out and you're going to be able to do a lot of this stuff on your own. If that's not you and you want to continue a relationship and you want help to manage these things on an ongoing basis, that's absolutely an opportunity as well, but it's certainly not required, not a commitment. So 3 months is all we're looking for. Again, we're looking for partners. And when I say partner, I'm not looking, it's, to me, a partner is somebody who, you're planning to be with for many years to come. We've got clients that we've been with for 5 and 6 years. I thoroughly enjoy working with Lee as part of the IDS. So I definitely consider him a partner, and is someone that I look forward to working with for many years to come. And that's really what we're looking for, is people that we can work with on an ongoing basis. There's some give and take in that relationship. Some people that we can work with that are going to allow us to, really kind of build this platform out. All right. So
let me give a little bit of input if I could, because I've decided. Chestin and I have worked together for a few months on the IDS, and of course, I'm very happy with the work that you've done for us. So I'm trying this program. So let's look at it from a periodontist perspective. What do I do? Yep. I have a 5% marketing budget. Okay, so I know the 5% of my income every year is going to be devoted to marketing. There's a particular thing which you talked about earlier. We do dental implant lectures. Well, I just did a dental implant lecture. I'm advertising on 3 radio stations at $1,500 a piece. Newspaper at $1,400 plus staff. All right, so I'm investing $6,000 or $7,000 in a dental implant lecture. And we get 5 new patients out of the last one. Okay, so that's over $1,000 per patient. That sounds like a lot, but if we look at our return on investment with dental implant lectures the past year, it's been 6 to 1. So while it seems like a lot, it's not really a lot. At the same time, we haven't been filling our dental implant lecture over the past couple of months. So what am I going to do? I'll reduce the number of dental implant lectures that I'm doing and take some of that money that I'm spending, and I'll spend it with Chestin, and we'll work that. I've got to look at that as a pilot program. And any program that I'm doing is a pilot program until I've seen its success or lack of success. And that's what we're doing here. So what I found is a reliable individual who I can invest in. And now he's up front. He says it's a beta program. I know it's a beta program. And we're going to take some of those investment dollars and see how it works over the next 3 months.
Yeah. And what's exciting is, that's, let's say $6,000 you're spending to advertise that implant seminar. You can take a fraction of that and take a snippet of one of your last seminars and create a short video, a 4 to 5 minute video of that authority-based content. We can target that at the specific audience that we're trying to reach. We can identify through the analytics those people that have watched a certain percentage of that. We can then send them to that next process, which is to get them to register for that implant seminar. And then utilizing that automated follow-up sequence, we can actually help make sure that they show up to that implant seminar. So for a fraction of that cost, you can actually start to build that relationship and start to kind of grease the wheels, so to speak, with that potential patient before they even show up to that implant seminar. So by the time they get there, they already know you. They like you, they trust you, they've already got a lot of their questions answered. And so at that point, it's simply a matter of shaking your hand, kind of looking you in the eye and saying, is Dr. Sheldon the person that I think he is, based on the information that I've received and the kind of the relationship that we've developed. So that's what's exciting about this is things like that, where you have, implants are a great thing because again, that consumer journey is long. They're asking a lot of questions. And so we can utilize this information and really position you as that authority and really cement that relationship before they ever even come in. And that's
exactly. And of course, the authority we're trying to cement is not just expertise in surgery. We have that, but it's the choice that a specialist, and in this case, a periodontist, can give because we're not just doing what you're seeing advertised on TV. Yes, we do that, but we can also save teeth. And frankly, that is if we're talking about pillar, if we're talking about public relations advantage, that is a big advantage that we can take, but we have to promote it ourselves and we have to promote it ourselves to the general public. That's why people come in to see us. Correct.
Absolutely. And honestly, that's why I'm excited to work with specialists because you have that, you truly are the expert. We're not just positioning you as expert, but you truly are the expert. And so you have every right to stake that claim and to really, own that and become that expert for these potential patients. And that's what's so exciting about this. All right. So now, let me go back. So there are a couple questions. I'm going to hold off on the questions just for a minute till we get to the end. I'm almost there. But it says, so really this isn't for everyone. And I recognize that, again, it does require some investment. It does require some of your time. But ultimately our goal is to produce a system that, if you were to invest in the stock market, you're looking at what, 10 to 12% maybe year over year. Our objective is to produce that and then some. And if we do things correctly, again, $6,000 for an implant seminar, you're getting a handful of patients out of it. If we can reduce the cost to get those same 5 patients to your implant seminar or those same 5 patients that get implants, what's the return on that? What's the return on that savings? You're not having to spend the $6,000, but maybe it's $600 instead. So really we're looking for people that are wanting to take control of your future. I recognize that you're in a precarious position in the sense that you're somewhat dependent upon those referrals. Lee does a great job through the IDS of helping, hopefully you specialists understand that you have to take control of that. You have to be responsible for generating your own patient flow. And so we're looking for people that are looking for that as well. Obviously, you don't need to be sold on marketing. You understand the value. You understand the investment that's required. You're willing to invest time and money. Again, our goal is to make it a minimal amount of time as possible, but at the same time, it is your practice. You're the one it's your name on the door. It's your face there. You're the one that people are looking to. And so we want to make sure that you're involved as much as is necessary. Lastly, you're coachable. There's some things that we're going to share that we're going to ask you to do that might be a little bit outside of your comfort zone, that might be a little bit outside of what you're used to. We're going to work with you on that. As long as you are willing to work with us, follow our direction, kind of, utilize our expertise, our insight into the marketplace and into what's working out in the marketplace as well. And then lastly, you're fun to work with. To me, it's not worth going to work if you're not having fun. And so, I just want to make sure that people we're working with are fun, that you're enjoying what you're doing, that you love dentistry, that you love helping people, and that you're excited about building this authority, building your brand, and becoming that trusted advisor for your potential patients. So if you're interested, again, I'm not going to give any prices. I will tell you that at the end of the day, once this thing launches, it's going to be somewhere between $12,000 to $16,000 is probably what we're looking at for an investment. For now, depending on the assets that you have, it's not going to cost you five figures. Anywhere from probably $7,000 to $10,000 is probably what we're looking at in terms of an investment. 3-month commitment is it. And my promise to you is that we're going to work as hard as we can to make sure that you get that return on your investment as quickly as possible. Obviously, there's no guarantees in the marketplace, but what I can tell you is that what we're seeing with the results that we've got from the clients that we have, you're going to see dramatic results. You're going to see a return on that investment. And it's not just the return that you're going to get today. It's not the patients you're going to generate tomorrow, but it's the patients you're going to be able to generate 6 months, a year from now, 18 months from now, as a result of this effort that we're going to put in to build this platform so that you have this evergreen marketing system ready to go. So that is all I had. Questions? Mind if I take some questions, Lee? There are a couple questions that came in.
Yeah, take a look at them.
All right. So first question says, there are many options. What are the first few steps you suggest to start now, and what are the fees? So we do have some options in terms of working together, but in terms of this project, really, we're really looking right now for people that want to develop this entire platform out. What I will tell you, though, is if you are looking to do this yourself, the first thing that I would do is make a list of frequently asked questions, should ask questions, things that your patients don't know they don't know, and then just start to create video content. Go download that app, Reporter. If you want to write up little scripts, what you could do is just have one of your office team members interview you, like you're doing an interview with a news station. Hey, Dr. So-and-so, I have a question about what are implants? And then just spend a couple minutes talking about implants. Take those videos, post them to your Facebook page, post them to your Instagram profile, run some ads to those. Now, if you're not sure how to run ads, I would be more than happy to answer any questions that you have, kind of give you some insight and some guidance on that. But really, that's the first step really is just start producing content. Put out good quality content with you, with your staff members. If you're not comfortable being on video, there are ways around it, but I can tell you that you'll be much more effective if you are on video, simply because people can see your face. They can see your mannerisms. They can hear the tone of your voice, your inflection. So start creating some good quality content via video. Start posting that to your social media profiles. Put it on your website. That's really the first place to start, because content is king. It's evergreen. It's always going to be there. So that's what I would suggest in that regard. Is there an ROI targets for this beta project? Again, get your return. The goal really is to develop this platform. My goal certainly is for you to get 10x your return. How long is that going to take? I can't say, just because we don't know. It is a beta program, but you do have, and hopefully Lee can back me up on this, but we're going to work extremely hard to make sure that you generate the return that you need in order for this to be, valuable investment for your practice.
Yeah, I'm very careful when I put people on my webinars. So yes, I've worked with Chestin, and yes, I can back you up on that.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
It's very hard for Danielle and me to keep the ideas successful.
Yeah. All right. So that was all the questions that we had come in. Any other questions? Lee, you have any questions? Anything that I can answer?
No, I think that does it. I think it's exciting. It gives us an opportunity to work in areas that we've all seen. We've all followed these platforms. We've looked at going to landing pages. We've looked at how we've been segmented. We might not have even realized we're being segmented when we do those clicks. Yep. But that's what Chestin's an expert in, if you want to go in that direction.
Absolutely. So let me put this up one more time. So if you are interested, so basically here's my call to action. Let's get on the phone and talk. All right. We need to have a conversation and find out where you are at. What's the status of your practice? What are your objectives? What are your goals? What are your challenges? What's your situation? Because everyone's different. Even though we're developing this platform that is going to work for whatever the challenge, whatever the opportunity is, each one is different. And so I want to make sure that those people that we choose to work with, that it's going to be most beneficial. And so the only way we can determine that is to have a conversation. And so if you'll go to this website, bit.ly/IDS-SS. I thought that would make it easy, but it's a bit of a mouthful to describe. But if you will go there, there's my calendar is online. Simply select a date and a time that works for you. I'll get a notification. We'll hop on the phone. We'll talk about your practice. We'll find out if it's a good fit. I want you to interview me as much as I'm going to interview you, and just to make sure that, the folks that we do choose to work with, that we're going to provide some value, because that's really what this is about at the end of the day, is making sure that we're providing value for those, people that we choose to work with. I'm excited for the opportunity. Hopefully, some of that enthusiasm was conveyed tonight as I was describing some of these things. But I'm excited for the opportunity to work with a handful of you and really take your practice to that place where you have that control, that stability, where you truly are in the driver's seat of the growth of your practice.
Very good, Chestin. Chestin Salisbury, fantastic job. And by the way, those of you who are members, you'll be receiving your special content in just a couple of days. And those of you non-members, we'd love to have you as members. So please contact us, Lee at directorofdentistry.com, if you want to hear more information about membership. Chestin, thanks for a great program.
Absolutely, I appreciate the time.
Good. Thanks.
Have a good evening, everyone.
Good night.